Hello and welcome to this course in Global English Unit 28. We are in writing module and going to look at Unit 7. Today we are going to talk about what many English teachers call cohesion and coherence. Actually, this is some kind of a grammar between sentences, how you join one sentence with another, or sometimes one phrase, one word with another. So, within and outside the sentence, so that everything combine to convey the message, the story, the matter that the speaker or the writer wants to convey. So, today we are going to talk about, of course, writing a simple language, but within that our focus is going to be on how to write sentences such that they join with one another, they lead. This kind of smooth movement from one sentence to another is, in the language of language teachers generally, in the language of English teachers in particular, is known as coherence and cohesion. We will look at some examples. Let us see. Even if you got the right words, if their spelling is okay, if they are simple, commonly used, familiar word, even then if these words are not joined with one another with right kind of joining words, these joining words are called connectors. If they are not connected with one another in the right manner, then there can be huge misunderstanding. Okay? Therefore, it is important that we not only learn writing grammatically correct sentences, not only learn writing simple and easy to read, write and understand sentences, we must also learn how to write sentences such that they combine with one another, how to make sentences where words easily join one another. Look at this some examples here. They are definitely not good examples. They are wrong examples, Can you say, I am going out home? You are confused. The listener would be confused. The reader would be confused. Are you going out of home? Are you going out from home? Are you going out to somewhere from home? Okay, or you were out and coming back to your home. What is it you want to say? That will not be clear. Similarly, Maria is returning off hostel. There can be wrong combination of time and tense marker, time marker. Say for example, if you say Mr. Sheldon came tomorrow, then he can come tomorrow. He came yesterday. Came can happen only in the past tense. Will come or is coming is possible or in the future or in the present. But came tomorrow is a misleading thing, or will come yesterday is equally misleading. You cannot say they will come yesterday. Okay? You can only say they came yesterday. Okay. Right? Sometimes some words take other joining words and they are determined. Say for example, as will be followed by so. Okay. So can be followed by that. so that, I wanted to tell you so that you can understand, okay? Or sometimes in place of other things. I will tell you in a moment about some of these words, but at the moment look at the example. You do not say as you sow, but you reap. The right proverb is as you sow, so you reap. As is followed by sow, S-O, sow. So as you sow, if you sow rice paddy, then you harvest, you reap rice paddy. If you sow wheat or corn or pulses, then you reap wheat or corn or pulses. Actually, it's a proverb, a metaphorical sentence which says, if you make only enemies, you will only have enemies. If you make friends, you will only have friends. Okay? So that's the meaning of it. But the uses are fixed. As is followed by so. If you do anything else, then there is confusion. Similarly, strike the iron before it is hot. You cannot strike the iron before it is hot or after it is hot. You can strike the iron only when it is hot or while it is hot. So the time indicator here is fixed. Only a hot iron, struck can give you some result. A cold piece of iron will give you nothing. It can break, but it will neither stretch nor shrink. Okay? Similarly, when you say a sentence like, she loves Clara's husband. Now, who is she? Is it Clara? If it is Clara, then it should come before. Clara loves her husband. Then the order of noun and pronoun is wrong, and then the wrong pronoun has been used. But it is if this she is somebody else, imagine this she is Clara's husband's mother or another friend of Clara. Let us say Clara has a friend called Martha or Susie. So then you should say Susie loves Clara's husband. Okay. Otherwise, if you say pronoun before noun, then it leads to confusion. It does not refer to Clara. It refers to some other lady who loves Clara's husband. Okay. So these simple things, what should come before, what should come next, whether it is all right for a pronoun to occur before noun, or it is all right for a pronoun to come after noun, and what kind of pronoun can follow what kind of noun. These things also have a grammar, and these things also require attention. And I will show you from examples where some experienced writers, particularly experienced academic writers in sciences, social sciences, also in languages, sometimes because of oversight, make mistakes of this kind. Similarly, in the next part of this sentence, if you say, but Susie doesn't love his husband. Okay. Now, is it possible to say his husband or her wife? Usually the concept is that only a man can have a wife. So it is all right to say his wife. Similarly, only a woman can have a husband. So it is all right to say her husband. Okay. So these little things, what pronouns can follow which nouns, what pronouns can come before which nouns, all of these things have some kind of a convention, a rule. And if you want to be a good writer, if you want to write easily and be understood more easily, then we should follow these rules. Okay. Sky looks dark, so it may not rain. Now it is the other way around. Sky looks dark, therefore, or so it may rain. Before it rains, the sky turns dark, unless of course on exceptionally sunny days. Sometimes also in tropical countries we have sunshine and rain going together, but that extremely rare and that's for a very short period of time. Good rains happen only when or before and while the sky is dark. Then clouds come and then clouds give us rains. Okay. So, some of these logical connectors, therefore, so, thus, as, so, hence, therefore, in this manner, that is why, that is how, all of these things have also a grammar, and they also make for, they also add to the readability of the sentences. If you use them correctly, your reader will understand you best, most easily, and you become an effective writer and speaker. This is how the sentences ought to be. It should be, I am going to home or I am going from home. You can also say I am going out of home. Okay? You can say I am going back to home, but not I am going out home. Maria is returning from hostel. You cannot say Maria is returning out hostel, off hostel. Philip will come tomorrow. Yes, as you have said. Mrs. Sheldon went yesterday. Yes, went is in the past tense and it goes well with time past. As you sow, so you reap. Okay. Strike the iron while it's hot. Clara loves her husband, but Susie does not love her husband. So, in this case it is very unambiguous, very clear that we are talking about two wives, two husbands. One is Clara, the other is Susie, and they both are married, they both have husbands. One loves one's husband, Clara loves her husband, maybe he is a nice man, but Susie does not love her husband, perhaps he is not a nice man. Okay. Finally, a sky looks dark, so or therefore it may rain. Okay. Let us look at bigger, we looked at isolated sentences, proverbs and idioms. Let us look at connected sentences. Okay. Let us look at connected sentences. Dehydration means clinical condition in which there is loss of water and salt in our body. Rehydration is the replenishing of the normal salt and water when someone has suffered dehydration. Okay. Now, you see, in these lines taken from some medical literature, there are two pronouns. Okay. One is our, the other is someone. Do they go together? Either the writer could have said dehydration means clinical condition in which there is loss of water and salt in one's body, or the other way, rehydration is the replenishing of the normal salt and water when our body has suffered dehydration. In both cases, if you want a cohesive sentence, if you want a sentence where all parts are well connected, then it is good that there should be harmony in the use of pronouns, prepositions, discourse markers, connectors, Otherwise, they would look like disjointed bricks in a house, and the house would neither look beautiful nor would be strong. Okay. The same thing here. Look at the next sentence. In dehydration, the usual sign is that people feel extremely thirsty and the amount of urine that one usually passes is decreased. So, let us go on. Actually, the better way of writing the two extracts that we saw from the medical literature would be the following. You can write them in a much simpler manner and in a much better manner. That is what we are trying to see and say. In dehydration, there is loss of water and salt in our body. In rehydration, we gain, we make up, we replenish normal level of or levels of salt and water. In dehydration, people feel extremely thirsty. They pass little urine, So it should be they connected with people, not someone. Then all of these things, tie. Actually, since we used the best would have been in dehydration, we feel it should have been best if we had said we feel extremely thirsty, and here also we could have said we pass little urine. Then there will be uniformity, it would go along. All right, let's move, let's look at some other examples, and all of these are authentic examples. They have been taken from medical literature, professional literature. Same thing here, again from medical literature. If you are having simple symptoms like extreme thirst, decrease in urine output, then you should actually try to rehydrate yourself in the home. But if you have developed fever, diarrhea or vomiting, extreme of these complaints or altered mentation, and you are feeling that you are getting drowsy, then you should definitely take help and suggestion of nearby doctor. How can they be done the right form? Let us see. You never say having, having has a different meaning. I mean, if you can say for breakfast, I have egg, fruits, milk and some cereals, then in that sense, have in the sense of eat can take ing. Suppose you get a call when you are at breakfast or when you are having breakfast, then you can say in English, you can thank your caller, you can say, hi, sorry, or hello, I'm sorry, can I call you little later, I'm having breakfast, where it would mean you are eating breakfast, you are eating lunch, you are eating dinner. Okay? In that sense, it's all right to use having. But if you have a car, if you have a bicycle, or if you have fever or some medical condition, then I'm having this is not a standard English use or usage. Okay? Like that, this is what we are talking. And this grammatically it may be all right. If you say have, why can't you say having? But usage, after all, language is used in a community. In all languages, you have certain fixed usages. Okay? So, you can say if you have symptoms like extreme thirst, decrease in urine output, then you should, no need for actually, try to rehydrate yourself. In the home may not be wrong, but it's a jerky thing, that is not the appropriate preposition. The appropriate preposition is at home. But if you have developed fever, no need, I mean, developed is not wrong, but it would have been best if you had said, if you have got fever, diarrhea or vomiting, the extreme of these complaints, or you could in the first part itself you could have said, if you have high fever, diarrhea or vomiting, so you can go like this. You do not say you are feeling in English. In English, some verbs do not take ing. This is just idiomatic. You can say feeling is inappropriate, inaccurate use. You can only say feel. You can say feeling, however, in one context. Imagine you are a doctor and you see the pulse of a patient, in this manner, and then you get a call or somebody asks you, "Doctor, what are you doing?" And then you can say, "Sorry, I am feeling a patient's pulse." So, in that case, feeling is all right. Otherwise, if you feel good or bad, if you feel sick or well, if you feel happy or unhappy, then you don't use the word ing. You don't use the word feeling. You do not say, "I am feeling happy, I am feeling unhappy, I am feeling sad." No. Or "I am feeling sick, I am feeling tired." No. You just say, "I feel tired, I feel fresh." Okay. That you are getting, no need. You can straight away say, "and you feel drowsy." Not that these words are incorrect. Of course, you can say, "and you are feeling that you are getting drowsy." Is in a certain sense not ungrammatical, but that is a lot of unnecessary load on of language, of verbal load on content. You really don't need it. You can say this in 3 words. "And if you feel drowsy," finished. "then you should take help and suggestion of a nearby doctor." Even this could be made shorter. You could say, "then you should see the nearest doctor or the nearest possible doctor." Why have 7, 8 words when you can say the same thing in 3 simple words? Whatever is within the parentheses is not required. Whatever is within brackets is not required. What is outside the brackets and is highlighted has been added by the editor. So, for example, look at this thing, "take help and suggestion of a nearby doctor." So, a has been added, because without a this will be a wrong phrase. You cannot say, "take help and suggestion of nearby doctor." A good standard English should say, "suggestion of a nearby doctor." Okay. Like that, you can go on. Similarly, at the end, the medical writer has used a question mark. There is no need for question mark here, because it is not a question. It is a question embedded in an observation sentence. It is a question packed within an observation sentence. Of course, it is a long sentence, a major question which, but if you do, to show these things better, to show you, to tell you how many redundant words we use, what is the state of incoherence or incohesiveness in our usual writing, I have marked it in red, so that you can easily understand that a lot of our writing is therefore non-standard. Okay. Look at the footnote. I have said words in red show added words, words that I have added, but those in brackets show redundant words. The writer already had those words that are within brackets, but they were not required. They were unnecessary. So, just to show you, if you in a state of dehydration, what should they do is not a retold question. A retold question can have should in its normal place after subject. Verb can come only after subject in a normal, retold, even in a retold question. If it is a question, then yes, you can say, "should they eat or drink water?" But if it is a retold question, then you can say, "the patient asked if or whether they should drink water." There you do not say, "the patient asked should they drink water." No. Okay. That is not standard English. Okay. Similarly, when you say they should eat or drink, they should, etc., etc., whether they should rely, then you don't need more, because if you say more, then you need than. Whether they should rely on home based preparations or, on. No need for all this. Or they should take recourse to, no, or on. I have added on some vintage thing like ready medicine in the market, off the shelf. You can rewrite these lines, and that will be good practice for you, and it will help you see how by habit or by lack of thought we write imperfectly, we write in a non-standard manner. Okay. What are the rules? Are there any rules, or are they all, guesswork? No, there are some rules. Whenever in doubt, as I have told you, look up your resource books, look up the net, or look up dictionary, thesaurus, encyclopedia, and you will find that you not only know more, you become sure of your knowledge. Nouns come before pronouns. Ordinarily, you do not say she loves Clara's husband. The best is to say Clara, which is a noun, comes before her, which is a pronoun. Okay. So, if you have used Clara or she, then it would be her. But if you have used a man's name, Mr. Sheldon for example, then it is his or him. Next, use related pronouns. If you have said we, then the pronoun is us, our. Like if you have said people, then the related pronoun is them, their. If you are talking in the first person singular number I, then related pronouns are me, my, mine. Though mine is used only in a certain context. You and your or yours at times. When what is yours is some distance away. You cannot say, I cannot say yours book, but I can say the book that is yours has found a customer, has found a place in the library, has been honored. Okay. So, if the noun is she, then the pronoun is her, her. But if the noun is he, then the pronoun is him in the objective case and his in the possessive case. That means, you can say he likes to stay home, he likes to stay at his home, we should not disturb him when he is at home. Okay. So, if for what I am trying to say is, for each noun there is a pronoun, for each pronoun other forms are fixed. What kind of pronoun will occur in which context is fixed. You do not have a choice there, and since they are not very many, it is not difficult to learn at all. Okay? You can easily master them if you pay attention. Pay attention, please. Similarly, time and tense should also match. If you write yesterday, it should be came. If you write tomorrow, it should be will come. Of course, there are some exceptions, like these three words, would, should, might. You can say, I would like to come tomorrow, or you can say, I might come tomorrow. But in this case, it is not just indicates tense or time, it does not indicate time, it of course indicates tense, it does not indicate time, it indicates a mood, a probability. That is why these words are also called modal. This is the spelling. They are also called would, should, meet, might, will, can, could. They are all should, might, I should have said could. Okay. All of these words are known as modals. To know more about them, you can look up the net or a good book of grammar, okay, or the resource pool that we have created with this course. There you can look at the principles, have some exercise, and you will find that you not only know more, as I have said, you also become more confident. Right. You know, it is true that verbs take ing, verbs can be made turned from present into past by adding ed or en. Okay, I mean, by changing their shape, they can go from present to past or come back from past to present. Similarly, you can add ing, but not in all verbs. Stand, seem. I forgot to add seem. Okay, you cannot say. You can say she seemed all right, but you cannot say she was seeming all right. Martha seemed all right. Martha seemed happy. Okay, you cannot say Martha was seeming happy. Clara feels happy is okay, but you cannot say Clara is feeling happy, or Clara is standing, or Clara is falling. Okay. In only one sense you can use ing with fall, when you are next to a tree and the tree is being cut, and as the tree falls you record it on your video camera and you can say, look, I have recorded falling tree. Okay, for having, I said. So some verbs do not take ing, like feel, fall, have, look, stand, seem. Maybe there are one or two others. Okay, but some words do, like you can say running, playing, cooking, eating, singing, writing, talking, speaking, listening, hearing. Okay, but you do not say feeling, falling, having. No. Look at the example. You can say, sorry, I forgot to write is. You can say this is the car. Some words connect only some kinds of sentences. Similarly, all connectors, it's like the furniture. You cannot put a round peg in a square hole. If the hole is square, suppose the hole is this way, then the peg must also be square. But if the hole is round, this cannot go in a round hole. No, it cannot go in a round hole. Only a round peg can go in a round hole. Only a square peg can go into a square hole. Same thing, similar rules here. That and which are good connectors for two parts of observation sentences. You can say this is the car which hit the cow. You can also say this is the car that hit the cow. But you cannot say Mary asked that she could bring her lamb to school. No, that will be incorrect, as I have shown it with a star here. This is incorrect. You can strike it off. This is correct. Mary asked if she could. So when a question is retold, the connector is if or whether. You could say Mary asked whether she could bring her lamb to school. Okay. Mary asked that she could bring her lamb to school, is an incorrect joining of or a retelling of the question. So whether or if can connect a question with a statement, but it should be with whether or if, not with that. Mary asked whether or if she could bring her lamb to school is correct, rather than Mary asked that she could bring her lamb to school. Similarly, when you use a word like more, then it is good to use than. You cannot say, should I rely more on X or Y. You will have to say, should I rely more on X than on Y. Okay? That will be the right construction. Therefore, whether they should rely more on home based preparation or they should take, this is incorrect. It should have been whether they should rely more on home based preparation than, this should be correct. Okay? But no need even for lengthy sentence. If you use rely, one is enough. You could simply say whether they should rely on home based preparation. No need for more. It implies that home based preparation is preferable to market solutions. Okay? So, just as I said, prefer, of course, now in American English a lot of people use prefer than. I prefer writing than using computers. Okay. Some people say that, but by and large in many other English speaking countries, even today, it is I prefer typing to writing, or I prefer writing to typing, okay, rather than I prefer writing than typing. Choice is yours. Okay. Then there are talk markers. How do you use also, and, because, either, hence? They are also called discourse markers. We will have time to talk about them in the coming units. For practice, look at this extract from a journal of computer science and see if you can make them write better. Okay. You can teach yourself writing a standard global English. Thank you.